Right, so this is pwn.college. I'm going to go pretty fast here. We've been pointed towards program security. I'm going to start actually an intro to cybersecurity to kind of get the ball rolling. Binary exploitations, what I've been going through. And then once it loads, you'll see this. I'm only going to do the hard ones on these things, but you'll see your first overflow here. Click on that, gives you a little bit of stuff. You can click on start. Once it loads, and the account that you can create with home.college is free. Comes with video references if you ever need them. All right, there we go. I always do the VS Code workspace. GUIs are a little bit clunky for me. Click on that, pulls up a Chrome tab here. And this is your little workspace here. And what's cool is if you make a free account, they will keep they'll keep your space for you. All right, so here's what the root looks like. And we always have the challenge there and also a flag. So if we try and cat flag, usually it says permission denied. So we have to actually go into the challenge and do whatever they have us doing. And so if we look into the challenge, there's the source code here. C, and then the executable as well. And so we're going to go ahead and open up the executable. There we go. Send bytes. We'll send them a little bit. Okay. We'll redo the challenge. All right, let's try that. This is the flag. This is the format of the flag. All you'll have to do is grab it, control, copy, go back here, paste it in, click submit, and that is how you do these. And so we're going to go into precision. So start up, close that, go here. And just based off the word precision, I'm sure that it's trying to get us to overflow a location and nothing further than that location. And so I'm going to go ahead and GDB into the challenge. And then let's see here. And also, I've got my little GDB commands in here too. They allow you to put whatever commands you want to in your GDB initializer file on your home. So that's really useful as well. And so first thing first, I'm going to disassemble main. I see the challenge there. I'm going to put a break on that challenge, and then I'm going to run. And I'm going to start melting into things. All right, as we can see, the stack is beginning to clear as I step through this. And let's see here. There's Anna. Move that, call read. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See where we're at. Okay, this is where the buffer begins. And we're going to have to override a location somewhere. It looks like if we override this location, it might be good or it might be bad. Let's take a look at that location. So examine key minus Charlie. That's alpha 184, alpha 184. Oh, that's where it begins. Okay, well then never mind on that. We'll keep on going down until we see another here's a test actually. Let's take a look at what it's testing here. So this is RVP minus 1.8. And this is at alpha 1 foxtrot 8, which is somewhere over here. Okay. Testing and jumping here. There's a 1 Charlie. Check out that 1 Charlie. That'll be P minus 1 Charlie. That's at Alpha 1 Foxtrot 4. So let's here. Okay. Goodbye. Okay. So we need to overflow part of this, but not overflow too far. And wherever that too far is, it's somewhere, I think, around here. So let's see here. 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 times 8, that's 96. So I am hypothesizing that I need about 96K to win this one. So, about that. And then on the challenge, and then 96Ks. All right, what about 97Ks? Binary, here we go. Now, okay, I have to go a little further. Well, let's do the 96Ks plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there we go. And that was just me kind of spitballing guessing because this specific one isn't that challenging. Go in, put in flag. Now we're going to variable control. Okay, so we're going to start up that instance. VS Code Workday. Now this one, variable control, looking like it thought. And I'm going to actually peek at this one. This one is on all this is going to chart down. And Intel. Okay, so we're looking through. This is main. That's that challenge one. And then here's the challenge all laid out. Oh, and look at that. There's a win function. Okay. All right, there's the win function. Okay. So what my guess is we're going to need this as our target, which you've seen before in buffer overflow 2. There we go. Target. All right. So here, if we go back to main, what we're going to be looking for in this challenge is this value right here, the return address. That's what we're going to be targeting. Get rid of some of this stuff. Okay. And so now, for this, because we're going to be feeding in an address to write over another address, we have to get onto the raw bytes and manipulate those. And so what we're going to need is some phone tools help. And so let me ls count. We're going to need this right here. Copy, and then the nano char.py, and then on import all, and then the chow equals going to be challenge this thing and then elf contact dot binary and chow, and then p equals process third. Well, all right, and then we are going to see a prompt. And after we see a prompt, we want to put some stuff in. And so I'm going to say send after, and the prompt, I'll go get it later, but we know that we're going to feed in payload. There we go. All right, and the payload is for buffer overflow. Always a little overflow there. Page usually times whatever stuff it is, and then the target address. And here, because we know this is 64-bit from what we saw, is RSTs, RIPs, things like that, we can go ahead and just put the address like this. A little bit later, there's going to be some times where it actually might be more advantageous to put it in the exact same value, but in a different way. So let's do 4030 at the one little Indian, 40. There we go. Perfect. And so, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it that now. Payload, overflow plus target. There we go. And then, as always, we're going to want to print out what it sends us, which is the receive all there, but we have to decode that from the raw bytes. We're going to decode it as UTF-8. And the errors that we get when we see those and replaced. So that'll be those diamond question marks. All right, I think I'm ready to go and grab that prompt. So I'm going to run this thing again. All right, there's our prompt. Copy, get out of there. Then I want to try out pod. Send there. Okay, and then as far as the overflow goes, did we calculate that? We got to go calculate it. PDB onto all right, break on challenge, and then run that. Then here's the read 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There we go. Okay, there it is. Right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 8. That's 56. So 56, and then that address is what we're going to do. So put down here. All right, we will hope that this works on the first go. No, lose variable is set. So there's what they're doing is they're simulating a canary. And so what we're going to have to do is not go so far that we alter that location that they're checking. All right, CDB again. And I'm going to go ahead and get a lot of K's going. Like 56. So I'm going to do 56 Ks, and then I'm going to do the address simulation. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 A's. That'll simulate the address. Okay, let's make sure we're targeting the correct location. Foxtrot 6 here. And Foxtrot 6 is here, 1750. That's it. Yeah, there we go. We did that. do 3 bytes. Maybe I could do 55. Try it this way. No, still set. Okay, I didn't expect that I have to get real tricky with this one, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Challenge, run, NX. And so here we are going through, and there we go. We're getting close. Boom. All right. And so instead of going through like a madman, I'm going to put 8 things on the stack right off the bat. Note where that stack is, and then everything beyond that I'm actually going to copy, or as I like to call it, clone. Okay. Feel pretty safe about taking a few more Ks there, so I'm just going to do 8 here plus 8 here, and plus 8 here, and another 8 here, and another 8 here, and I'm going to clone these things. All right, and that's going to be 264 is like still a 1, still a 2, 264 on that as well. Okay, and then 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 40 Ks. So Bravo, boom, K, 40. Gonna leave the target the exact same. All right, got that. Put out of here. No, check the time. Get rid of that. And then put in this instead. So now we have our overflow, a bunch of Ks times 40. And then we have replicating the fillers 1, 2, and then the target. And so instead of it's that, filler 1, filler 2, target. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, still didn't work. Okay, I found out what I was doing wrong. This one in particular, it's not as easy as I thought it was. So me going way too fast through it, I missed something very important, which was basically the variable control, the whole purpose of this exercise. And so here we have main. Main goes into challenge here. Here's the challenge function, and the challenge is trying to get to this win function. So we have our target set correct. That's what echo 43 that we can see as far as our target goes. Let me get rid of this. Okay, but inside the challenge, as it's going through, remember, always pay attention to the compares, specifically, especially these compares. There's a compare down here right before you get into calling when, and that compare will jump you over the when function and kick you out. And so what we need to do is we actually need to find out where this address is and make sure that we feed these bytes into that address to make sure that the compare allows us, or at least doesn't flag us and kick us out. So go ahead and GDB into challenge, get my break on challenge, use my NX, feed through, Read in K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's up right there. Here's what we need to figure out. So it's about to compare this value to EAX. We need to figure out, here's EAX. This address was moved into EAX. So we need to analyze this right here. So analyze RVP minus this. Boom. All right. And so as we can see, it is 127 Charlie. So if we look here for 127 Charlie, that's this location right here. It's actually this location right here because we've been dealing with 64-bit this whole time. This is EAX. And so it's actually going to go up to the front. And so when we put our K's in, what we're going to have to do is we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's K times 3. Well, it's 8 times 3. That's 24. So 24 Ks. So 24 Ks are going to get us up to this location where we can input these bytes. So I'm going to grab these bytes, put them right here for now. Those things are going to look different. I'll look at them later. And then after we've done that, I'm thinking of just cloning these 3 locations and then putting our target address. And so our clones will be here. And then our target is here. So this is what our stuff's going to look like. Overflow equals bytes of K there. And then I guess you could call this a canary. I don't want to do P32. I'll just do the bytes just in case. All right, X, and that's delta alpha, and then 49er, and then alpha echo, and then 1 Charlie. All right, so there's Mary. All right, that's going to be filler 1 equals P64 on the filler 2, P64 here, filler 3, P64 there. And then our target by here. And I'll just look for the target real quick. All right, this symbol main, oh, sorry, not main, this symbol win. All right, this one again. Boom. That is 4-3. And then 1 echo. And 4-0. There we go. Boom. And so our payload becomes, of course, all that stuff. So overflow plus canary plus 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing we could put a bunch of Ks in there, 8 times 3 to be exact. But I'd rather get into the, like I said, of keeping programs as unchanged as possible. Unchanged. All right, there we go. All right, now let's see if this will be a much better payload for us. And I'll try out 5. All this back here. Go away, go away, go away. All right, let's see if this works. Not quite. That not too far off. Let's try nano.py. And instead of send after, let me try send line after and see if that works. Sometimes it's just that simple. No, not there either. So now, because my hunch wasn't correct, I'm going to change it and perhaps a new hunch. Maybe, maybe it's 5. Okay, not 5 either. All right. Yeah, what I was doing is I knew and I had spoken of before that we had to go halfway through the stack because we're going from an RAX to EAX. But my overflow was still counting 8 times 3, which was 24. And so I had to account for those next little bit of, hey, let me get a few more Ks there to get this value to push over to the left to actually trigger everything correctly. And so now we run this. Boom, and then there's the flag. All right, so now on to the next one. This was what variable control hard. Okay, so now we go to control hijack. Let's see here. Code. Right. God, come on. Jesus Christ. Okay, finally showed up. These things are supposed to be near the speed of light, but as Admiral Grace Hopper once said, there are many, many nanometers between us and satellites and a lot of this medium that we use. So anyway, we're going to continue working with the try.py thing. And so here's what it looks like at the moment from the last challenge. We go and ls the challenge to grab this, copy, and okay, paste that here. Go. Perfect. All right. This will all change, but in due time. So, okay, the first thing I like to do is do object dump on the challenge. It's take a good, have to look at this thing. So right now, here's our main function. Here's our challenge. Here is our return address from that challenge that I'm thinking we're going to need to write over. All right, so now this is the actual challenge here. And I'm going to look for any compares, just kind of scope them out. Here's a compare here. But it's not a very interesting compare. If you'll recollect from, I believe it was buffer overflow 2 with the Pico CTF, we've had this 0 to, whatever compares before, and they haven't been very eventful. The only ones that I saw that were eventful that one time were like deadbeat and leak code, things like that. And let's continue going up. Okay, here's our win function. I'm going to take the address here, and as I always do, set my target. I'm going to scope out all the compares that I can see. Okay. No big compares here, so I think this will be fine. All right. All right, so moving on here, we're going to go ahead and GDB into the challenge. And we already know it's set a breakpoint challenge. one of X. Keep an Xing. We can see as in the past, the stack starts to clear out a little bit. On print, here's good old trusty print. Here comes the read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, we see input here. And then this is 1531. That's the return address. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm already thinking we're going to do 9 on the overflow. So, nope, not 9. Hold on. 9 times 8, that's 72, I think. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and get the target set into the proper format. Boom. That's Delta Bravo. That's the 1, 2. That's up 40. Okay, cool. There. All right, so far, this is what I have for the payload. Here. Anything else that scope on? I see some pairs here. That one looks not interesting. Call a goodbye. Really? I don't think it should be that simple, but whatever. We'll check it out. So, all right, nano, I'll try. And these guys, give me 72 of them. Uh, Target, let's see here. Payload. Do a whole new payload here. Oh, I can just copy and paste. Hold on. Copy, paste. There we go. Okay. All right. No way it's this easy. Let's see what we get on the first run. On 3, on 2, try out 5. Oh, okay. Never mind. It was that easy. No canaries, no weird stuff. That's weird. Okay, whatever. Control hijack is done. Go to the next one. This one says tricky control hijack. Okay. Oh, come on. Always remember what Admiral Grace Hopper used to say. Okay. It's a very good service. This is a great, great website to learn from. So give them grace. All right, let's see here. So try out Polygon. Oh yeah, that's right. Object dump. Let's go for challenge binary. Boom. Intel go. All right, we have our main. Uh, Take note. Challenge here. Return address here. Copy. Okay. Our challenge here. And weird compares. That's the same one. 0 compare here. No, looking good there. All right, here's our win function. Win function start here. Uh, Looks a little different though. We have win underscore off. And so it seems like this one's going to be a little trickier. Let's look for compares. Got one right off the bat. And then this thing. What is this thing? I don't know what that does. I'd have to research on that one. But let's go back up to the compare and look at it. Yeah, it's like 1337 uh, leak. It's a common hacking kind of funny thing. And so what I'm thinking here, it's checking to compare if leak is found at this local address, this local variable address here. And then if not, it jumps to Delta 58. Oh, okay. It jumps you across the entire function. So sayonara, get out of here. Okay, so hmm, we either want to set leap to, but it's a local variable. Very interesting. Let's see what else we can do here. Instead of coming in hot right here at Charlie 3 Echo, let's see if we can just come in hot right here and bypass this compare altogether. Yeah, so let's land right here. Let's land at uh, Charlie 5 Alpha here. So copy. So instead of Charlie 3 Echo, we're going to land here instead. And that is 5 Alpha. And now it's 1 Charlie and 40. Okay, cool. So this is, oh, but we got to figure out our offsets and stuff. So GDB onto challenge the binary. So as we do the break, do the run, do that, do that, do that, do that. Okay. Come to the read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that. And here's where it begins. And the return address, I believe, was that 1 Echo Charlie Delta. We can always check, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. All right, so we want to go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 times 8, 104. Come on. There we go. All right, so 104. This is what I think the payload should be. That's that. No, need to try. Payload up. There we go. And save. And then let's see what this thing called. Ah, there we go. Hijack forward. All right. So now I need to try it again and change this thing to a 2 here. There we go. Python 3 on Charlie. Okay, perfect. There's the flag. All right, so yeah, the main thing about that one was in buffer overflow 2 on Pico CTF, we brought some parameters along for the ride with the function, and we insert those onto the stack at where the function variables existed. And so that was EDP plus, I think it was 8, and then EDP plus Charlie. Here, because it was EDP minus 4, you're looking at local variables. And so those aren't I don't think those are as easy to manipulate when you don't have to. And so here I just spotted the check and said, well, lend me at thought location in the code. So that was tricky. Here, pies, hard. And if you don't know what pies are explained I want to say right here, you can watch that video and he'll explain exactly what size are, or you can Google. It's just a way to randomize these memory addresses, and so that everything that I've been doing so far won't work out as well, and you'll have to do a little bit more brute forcing effort. We go. So first thing we're going to do is object up onto the challenge, take a look at it. Here's main. As I go, I'm going to take note of the return address that I'm looking for. So that, thank you. All right, so as you can see, all of these addresses look very different from what we've been dealing with. We've been dealing with like 4, 0, 1, blah, 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 blah. Here, we're just getting kind of a snippet of these addresses. And the reason is whenever we run, everything past the second or third uh, little bit of these things is going to change. It's going to change on every single run. And so our payloads aren't going to stay the same. And so we need to continue on. All right, this is when off again. And so here's that compare that we have to jump over again. And so our target is going to be actually this one. I'm going to grab this. This is the weird return address, and this is the weird target. I'm going to go ahead and draft the target. And I'm seeing 2 foxtrot and 1 delta. All right, so 1 delta there. And so now we just need our overflow. All right, let's go ahead and FTD into that sound binary. There we go. Break on the sound as we do. Connect, keep going until it gives us the read. There's the read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go. Next again. Our thing starts here. And we're trying to get to what looks the most like 1 Foxtrot 6 6. And what I'm seeing here is right there. So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 40. 5 times 8 is 40. There we go. All right. And so the thing about pies is the next time we run this, the only thing that's going to be the same is the Foxtrot 6 6. 5 will change. It's the 3 last ones. Foxtrot 6 6 will always be the same through every single run, but all this other garbage is going to change out on every single run. And so what we're going to have to do is this 1 delta, the delta is going to stay the same every time. It's going to be delta 2 Foxtrot. But the 1 could be a 0, could be a 1, could be a 2, all the way up to Foxtrot. And so we're going to have to like do this a number of times in order for it to work. Where am I? There we go. All right, nano, let's try. Oh, wait, let me go grab that one thing. LS on challenge. Wow. All right, nano, let's try. You are completely different. So paste. There we go. We said it was 40 for our overflow. And then it was something like 2 Foxtrot, and then like 1 delta. And like I said, it doesn't have to be 1 delta for this one. Could be anything delta. But we're going to have to run it several different times. Let me make sure 2 Foxtrot. Okay, good. All right, so hold on. All right, did not work. I think they said something like after 20 attempts, you have a 95% hit rate. And so I like to count up to 20 before I start second guessing myself. So that was one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. There it is. So after seven, we got the hit. All right, good deal. So that was five. String length is not. Try that one. Because this takes forever. All right, let me go ahead and uncheck that. Down. Okay, so we have our main. Let's grab that return address, which is 2438. Okay. And then here's the challenge. I'll look through it a little bit. I see a compare here. Any others? Here's another compare. This one not as unique. So I'm going to make a note of this compare right here. It's comparing to alpha to something. So hexadecimal, yeah, to alpha, that's 42. So I'm just going to make a note here. Something compares with 42. And anyway, this thing is called string length. And so I'm going to go ahead and run this thing. And I think string length is going to be one that says you can only put in a string length of 42. If you go past, you suck. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Assertion string length is less, all right, gotta be less than 42. So that's where that compare came from. So we know for a fact already that our first overflow is going to have to be Bravo below here times 42. And then we're going to have to do stuff afterwards. Oh, so let's see here. We have the object dump going on. Let's go back to it. We saw that challenge. We see, it went off. So we know the as far as compares go, none other but the one we've been dealing with. So we actually need to land right here, which is 21.5 echo. All right. And put it as 5 echo, 25 echo. No, 21. Yeah, 21, 5 echo, 25. Okay, that was perfect. Okay, so we've got the 42 taken care of, and we're going to be looking in the code for 2438 once we start it. So let's go ahead and jump into GDB, break on challenge. On, let's keep going. And let me make sure this return address is already there. So 2438. 24. Okay. It looks like this might be another pi situation, so we may have to run this a few times, but here is the 438 right here. All right, so let's keep on going. Here's the read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nowhere in sight. Okay, interesting. Okay, we do one more. Here's the comparison. We know that that's 42, and we know that we just gave it 7, so we're going to pass that compare. It did jump, and so we know that if we didn't pass that compare, it would not jump forward. It's probably an if statement that says get out of here if you fail. Here's a memory copy coming up. I bet that's going to copy those K's that I just gave it from one location to the stack here. Okay, yeah, looks like it did. And then it's going to compare 0 with something, but here's my K's right here. And here's my target address right here. I'm going to make a note real quick. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 88 K's so far, as far as my dumb math goes. All right, there's that. Target there. 4, 3, 8 there. Okay. And compare. Just because it exists, I'm going to take a peek at that. I might have 9.5 up trot Charlie, which is here. So it's 2 above right there, and it's looking for 0 there. Okay, interesting. Where was that? It's right here. I feel like this is deceptively easy. No, I need to take notes here. Right now, you remember how we were doing those fillers? We have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to have to make those fillers once again because there was a compare on that location just now. And, I didn't like the looks of it. So as of right now, I'm thinking this is what it's going to have to look like. It's going to be an overflow, not to 88, however. It's going to be an overflow up to that location that I just spied. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 8, that's 56. Change that. So 56 plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this, and then the target. And I think that's how it's going to go. But we'll see. We'll keep on going. Okay. Didn't have to go too long. So that's over. Let's see here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and draft out my hunches. After one. And you've seen this already. I'm going to go ahead and just pause for a second. Okay. I went ahead and drafted all this, and I went ahead and added a few more just to get to the right place that we were looking at. And so what we have now is overflow of about 40 Ks, followed by about clone of what I saw on the stack, and then our target, and then payload for the clone stack. And then here's uh, that try, so we've got everything set. Yeah, 40 Ks here, have all the addresses, the target here, payload overflow, plus all this stuff, plus target. And so now this is pi. Once again, we're going to have to run this a few times in order for it to actually give the flag to us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, there, 4. So now we have the flag. So that's there. The next one is basic shell code. This one's interesting. All right, VS Code Workspace. pause. All right, so with basic shellcode, there is no easy hard version. This just goes right from the start. So we're going to do challenge and then go ahead and run binary exploitation basic shellcode. Welcome to this crap. This challenge needs some bytes, modifies them. No, this reads in some bytes, modifies them, and then executes them on code. This common exploitation scenario called code injection. Through this series of challenges, you'll practice blah, 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 and do stuff. All right, allocated, okay, reading that. 3, 4. Okay, interesting. So here it took my input. Here's the input, the 4Ks that I just typed into the keyboard. And then it's trying to translate what I gave it as shellcode. And then it tries to execute that shellcode. So it just tried to execute uh, multiplying some address with base pointer. Weird. Okay. Uh, I'm thinking if I gave it not, maybe? No, because it's taking in O2 and then the keyboard enter. Okay, so what we're going to have to do for this one is actually write some assembly code. Some assembly code that does something very specific because, as you know, we have to find the flag. So if we ls the word, we can see that if we try to, there's the flag, try and see the flag, it's permission denied. And so I'm thinking we are going to have to create shellcode that reads the flag and then pump it into this thing, and then this thing will execute it and then give us the flag. All right, so what I'm going to do, asm.s, intel, syntax, prefix, global, start. All right, put my start here. All right, and so the first thing I need to do is a little bit of research. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this spot right here. And the research that I did before I started doing this particular problem set was I went up here and actually clicked here. Nope, not there. Here it is, shellcode injection introduction. And I watched this video, that is, I'm going to watch this video. Well, really, I've seen all the videos, but this video in particular is important because what this video does is it shows a very handy syscall, and that syscall is very useful that we can use. And so after that, I'll show you a very good resource. Jason Purley, someone that Ray had introduced me to. We do syscall.sa, and then we're dealing with 64-bit. And so these are all the syscalls that we can use. And so I kind of played around with this because I was very new to the syscall world. And so if we look here, and try, yeah, this is a C program. And what the C program does is it actually opens up text file and reads it. Well, it doesn't read it. Let me be clear about my wording because some of these words must be very specific because as you can see, they're specific here. Yeah, read, write, open, close. And so this syscall here is actually two syscalls. We have send file and we have open. And so, and I was playing around with it. Let me get it to where don't play around with it too much. I'm going to change it up a little bit and say, hey, save as. There we go. And then go into the Pico thing, into Shelly, into baby step. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of this stuff that's in here. And go. There we go. So now all I have in here is that C program right there. I'm going to go ahead and mono Heyo. Right. Save that. All right. And so now what I'm thinking is when I compile this into try, whatever, doesn't matter. And if I run try, that should open up Heyo and read that out to me. All right, it did not. Well, okay, I figured out what I did wrong. Uh, it has to be very specific as far as the path goes. So if we tab into try out, see, I changed Heyo here and added in all these steps that I have to put in order for it to find it from the roots. And so that's why it didn't work. But as you can see, the syscall now works. And so if we take a look, this is the send file using the open syscall. And so that's kind of the basic understanding of this specific problem set in pwn.college is that when you watch his video, he uses those two syscalls specifically in order to what's the best here. So if we see, let's see here, AFM, all right, we're going to have to build it. And he shows how to build it, a pretty good way to build it. So I'm going to go ahead and basically take everything he's got and paste it in and describe everything that's going on. Actually, never mind. I'm going to type it as I go. All right, so I'm going to move into the RDI register and let me get this thing back going. 54, and then have a little roadmap here. Have it here. Okay, so here is the thing. Let me delete some of this crap here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and tune this as if we were in their environment. So we have include, etc. And good. This right here, I ran this C program and had permissions in their environment. This would open the flag because the flag is found at root. And these are the arguments here. We look at open, so specifically look at open, and then it takes two arguments here. Right, here's open here. And so here's some arguments here. And so what we are going to do is draft some assembly code that is going to translate. All right, so here, move RDI. Let me go ahead and make some notes here. I know for a fact that we're going to be the RES to 2. So through there. And we're needing RDI to be filled out. So I'm brand new to this, and so you'll have to forgive. Open here, RDI or pointer here. Let's see here. So you're wanting to open and explain. So let me see if the flag is here. All right, so let me try this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, come on, 1, 6 Charlie, 6, 6, 2 Foxtrot. Right, that should be flag. So I'm moving string flag, well, slash flag into RDI. Now I'm going to push RDI as well because, where'd it go? It's right here. It's asking for a pointer. The pointer is the argument. So we're going to have to push RDI and then kind of reference itself. So we'll want to do something like, now that it's on the stat, and the pointer the stat pointer is pointing to, we're moving that into RDI. And then we have, let's see here, seeing this RSI here. RSI, leave it, yeah, null. So I think we can put 0 into it. RSI 0. And then set call. And then let's see here. So that takes care of this part right here. We've identified what the accumulator that we're looking for number 2, which is defined to open, and then we're setting RDI. And we kind of have to do some method to this. We have to text the string that we want and place that into RDI, then push RDI, whatever's in RDI, to the stack, and then set what's at the top of the stack, that pointer to RDI, because that's what it's accepting. And then as far as the next argument, null, just set to 0 is fine. All right, so now we have to take care of the send file function. And so here, let's see here, send file. There it is. Okay, so send file is this one. So let's see here. Thing is 40. And then we've got RDI to take care of. And RDI, what was it? 1. Okay, so there's RDI. Move the RDI to number 1. That must be here. RSI. RSI is here. RSI is file descriptor, which is actually that. Okay, so we can't do the 40 into REX yet. We have this in there. So that first. There we go. Because that's this argument here. Very tricky. All right, and then RDX, that's the 0. All right, so that's an easy one. RDX 0. Okay, and then the next argument is 1000, which is the R10. Move 10. Go. And that settles that. So now we can move this into REX and perform the call. And then as you go through this assembly stuff, always know to quit gracefully. You always want to call REX 60 and just call like that. All right, so this should run this C code, shell code that we're sending to this place. So let's save and hope for the best after we compile it. All right, so there's our asm.s. You have to compile like no standard live and static. And you can just make a note that's the same mostly. You can do shell elf. There we go. It compiled, thankfully. And then we're going to do an object copy. Don't section.txt equals shell And while I'm still pretty dumb at this, I've just memorized this, DCC, blah, 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 big copy, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I've done. All right, so now there's our file. So we have one that is actually executable, which is the shell elf. Cool. Didn't do anything, not a problem. And then the shell raw is actually the raw bit. So if we opened and looked at this stuff, it would look like garbage, absolute garbage. But we did see flag, didn't we? Interesting. Or at least the flag string that we put into the buffer. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cat that shell raw. I'm going to type it into the challenge and hope for the best. And there it is. So this is everything that we just wrote in assembly, all drafted here in this neat little program. And it did indeed give us the flag. All right, there we go. And that took about 10 hours when I first tried it to figure out how to do this thing. Now we go to not floods. All right, not floods. Go ahead and pause. All right. So with this one, it's asking us to do a not flood. And so what that means is inside this program, like if we went ahead and did the challenge right here, and we did, let's say a few Ks, yeah, you see the Ks that I sent to this program, we were seeing a bunch of six Bravo. Now we're seeing a bunch of gibberish that's being mixed into our stuff. And what it's saying is that this challenge will randomly skip up to 800. Well, that's a hex 800. What you really feel? 2048. And so this program is going to randomly skip up to that many bytes in your shell code. You better adapt to that. One way to evade this is to have your shellcode start with a long set of single byte instructions that do absolutely nothing. That's the no op before the actual functionality of your code begins. And so all I need to do on this one is, let's see here, let me get rid of the shell elf and shell raw. I can keep the program the exact same. I just need to figure out how to tweak it a little bit. Not try. There we go. All right, yeah, I need it to not really start here, but start somewhere way down at the bottom. So basically, I have to find a way to do like a little for loop for these knots. Which what's really cool about assembly language, go ahead and do a little chat GPT action if it'll let me. Nope, won't let me. Oh well. Something about my microphone. Chat GPT just assumes that I'm talking to it. All right, here we go. Not, come on, not fled, dot repeat or something like that. I know what it looked like here. I just need the code. And it's very simple. It's nothing. I mean, if you found yourself having to Google this during the screener interview, don't feel bad. It's nothing special. Oh, for Christ's sake, I'll just guess. Okay, so I think it's this, and then not, and then we'll hope for the best here, and R, I think, and we'll do. Oh, it's like 1,000 or something. It's like 1,000. Yeah. We're gonna try this and see what happens. I'm just feeling a little froggy. All right, let's see. Actually, I think I've done this one. Let me go into Shelly. Where is my cursor? All right, there it is. Kelly, um, two, CD, CD and a one. All I want is that little repeat thing. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, dot repeat. Yeah. Okay, so I was pretty close. I had the colon. Well, I shouldn't have had the colon. So let's redo that. Redo that. All right, and then now into the crap here. Oh, it's so close. All right, and then we can go and do this stupid thing again. How far up with it? Go. And then that was too far up. I'll just do this. Um, yeah, let it copy. So their environment is being stressed out at the moment. And it's causing me a now let's cat this thing off into the counter. No, didn't work there, did it? Oh, no. Okay, we can give it a little bit more then. Shuff. I'll actually debug just to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, idiot move again. I put 1000 up here. It should be 2046 because that's what it told us. It said 0 and 800, which is that much. So I'm going to say, okay, yeah, do that. And then we're going to do the very long CPC thing. There we go. And then the copy thing. All right, and then we're going to cat that result, pat pipe that into binary. There we go. Perfect. So there's five for that one. Okay, and so now for the last one, null free shell code. So go here. There we go. Pause. This one, we run it. We say, see, this challenge for each of bytes, just like last time. Map to this stuff, to this stuff. Okay, looking good. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this one's required. Okay, that your shell code have null bytes. So we need the program to do what it's been doing, but it can't have any null bytes. Meaning, if we go to object dump on the shell, let's say L. So, okay, so here's our code. We have all those knops that are landing. And then here we have, here's a null byte, here's a null byte, here's a null byte. And so what it's saying is have this do the exact same thing that it's doing, but don't have these null bytes all over the place. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to rewrite the code with equivalent code. And so if I go here, nano into, let's say, uh, fun fact, when you do a move instruction, that causes null bytes. And so when you're doing something like this, instead of moving to RAX, you can do increment RX. And you can increment RX twice. And when you increment RX twice, that's the exact same thing as moving 2 to REX. So there's one set of the null bytes that are now completely gone. Hmm. Why is move still there? Let me try this again. Oh, that's right. Because these are not the shell out from the, oh, okay. So yeah, I just need to remove the shell out there. Hang on, shell out raw. There we go. And then I have to recreate them. So GCC, no standard web, got it on ASM, make the mount thing. So, oh, there we go. All right, now when we do the object dump on that, there. Oh, okay, there we go. So now the move REX two into it that had the null bytes is now gone, replaced by increment, but those are still saying, hey, there's a two in REX now. So for another location where, let's see here. So it looks like move absolute this thing into RDI. We need to do something very different than move instruction because the move instruction is causing these null bytes here. So, so yeah, we have move, we're moving the flag string into RDI before we do stuff with it. And so an equivalent thing here is actually, if we nano, and well, all right, see how all these zeros for this RDI register really not needed for all that. But anything you put in, if you do like just this part right here into RDI, you're still going to have that move to deal with. And so one thing you can do is move kind of like one little byte at a time. I'm going to show you a register here. Anatomy of a register. Where you at? EAX. Go. Why is my internet so slow? All right, so here is the anatomy of a register. If my internet will speed up. Okay, there we go. So we have REX, that's the 64-bit, and then we have EAX, that's 32-bit, and then we have the higher and the lower of the AX. And so what we're going to do, instead of doing that move instruction like that, that has all that crap in the front, we're going to do one lower byte at a time. Okay, so we're going to change this thing to something more like move into the lower part of that. That's the lower part. There you go. You know what? Actually, instead of RDI, all right, let's pretend it said something more along the lines of this. I like messing with the BS on the BL stuff. So let's pretend it was like move that into there. Yeah, it's the same exact result here. Having this go into RBX and then pushing RBX onto the stack and then saying, hey, whatever that top of stack is, put it into RDI, nothing has changed. Nothing. And so now I'm just dealing with a different register that I feel a little bit more at home with. And so we have RBX here. I'm going to do a move on the lower part of RBX. I'm going to do it with 67 there. And then I'm going to shift left on RBX. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the next one, like that. And then I'm going to shift left again, like 8. And so what I'm doing is I'm making no room for those zeros and I'm not doing any kind of move instruction that would will result in null bytes. And so I'm just going to keep on doing this until I fill up the entire portion. So left on RDX scan by 8, and then move BL. So left again. Move BL. The last one. Do pop chart. This left. RDX. Okay. And then the push RDX comes in, which is the color. So I'm going to leave up, get rid of this one. There we go. And save. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that shell L. Yep. And then compile again. No standard find library static on ASM. I'll file. Let's just do shelf right now because we're going to have to change it some more. Object shelf be on shelf. We'll name it known on that one. All right, there we go. All right, now as you can see, here's our increments on RAX. And then here is everything that we changed. And as you can see, there are no null bytes to speak of. All right, so the next thing we need to do is move 0 to RSI. So that's our next target. Okay, there we go. And the way to do this, instead of doing a move, you can just do a XOR against itself, and it'll do the exact same thing. And so XORing RSI, boom, no more null bytes. And it results in RSI having 0. And so anywhere I see that 0 thing, I'm going to do that to RDX down here as well. You can already see it coming. All right, there we go. Let's see here, move RDI 1. I'm going to go ahead and just increment RDI. Wait, I don't know what RDI has. Oh, RDI has the stack pointer. Okay, yeah, no, first we need to XOR RDI to 0 and then increment it to 1. Because up here, you see where we gave RDI pointer? All right, so that's, yeah. So that gets rid of the move 1 to RDI. And then let's see here. That is fine. All right, register here. So I'm going to go ahead and XOR R10 against itself to make it 0. And then I'm going to increment R10 to 1000. But I'm going to do it in a way that it's going to be like this. So repeat 1000, increment R10. 1R, I think. Yeah. There we go. All right. And so what that's going to do is we've given 0 to R10, set it to 0 with the use of the XOR, and then we're repeating 1000 times increment R10. And so that's the exact same thing as doing that. All right. And so I think that takes care of everything that I can see. We're going to check these moves out down here. We may have to increment RAX to these moves. Actually, you know what? We'll just do that anyway. Did I just do something stupid? I think I did. Let's see here. Yeah, a little stupid. That's okay. I'll get us caught up. Okay, back to it. All right, so I got caught up here. We incremented R10 1000 times after we XORed it out to 0. Now we're dealing with the RAXs. So we XORed out RAX out to 0, repeat it for 40, increment 40 times. That gives RAX the 40 we want. Then the syscall there. Then we 0 RAX out again. And we do another repeat for 60 times. on increment my x, and then in the repeat, and then it's 6 call. So, all right, so this should be what we need to get rid of all those null lines. And so now I'm going to go ahead and remove self go. And this time I'm going to compile. Alabama. And now I'm going to do logic stuff. There we go. All right. So as you can see, no nulls there. All right. There's a little sys call, no nulls there. None so far. Way to the top. Can't even see it anymore. So what we can do here at this point is when we do this object dump, we're going to pass it to grep, and we're going to tell grep, hey, I want to see anything that's a double zero. And so here, it came up with all this tricky stuff, but this is not the case. It's talking about these zeros over here, not these zeros over here, except for this one. All right, so we are going to have to do something with this RSI that escaped us. And so move RSI 0. Let's see where that is. Oh, here it is. Right here. Move RSI 0. Completely missed it. All right, so XOR RSI 5. All right, well, I'm going to try that again. All right, move down. There we go. PCC, no standard library static. That file. That's fine. And then do object dump. That. And Intel flavor. Oh, that's right. The equals. That doesn't mean anything. We have to do that and then do the little grep thing on any kind of thing like a double zero. Oh, there we go. As we can see, any and all double zeros are over here to the left that don't matter at all. And there are 0 double zeros here in the code. And so now we're going to feed this. Let's see, object copy. Object copy what? Stop. Section text equals. Like, we're going to name it the right thing now. Raw Vanna. All right, so now cat Vanna. No. Sorry. Cat raw. Type that into the challenge. All right, sex call. Let's go all the way up. Oh, I passed the thing. Let's see if maybe I can get rid of those not sleds. All right, so no into this. Get rid of the not sleds. I'm going to increment R10 1,000 times. Well, let's see how I can do this. Okay, here's one thing I didn't do. So I did repeat increment R10 1,000 times to get that 1,000 into R10. However, I didn't do anything with R10. So I'm going to go ahead and pop R10. And I think that's why Simpson didn't like that. So, PCC. Copy. Light. Equals. I'll cat, I'll put that into the challenge. Okay, still not good. Okay, I think I see what's going on. So I did not XOR out REX before implementing it, and I didn't XOR out RBX before doing something with it. And so I think that's my biggest problem here. So I'm going to go back into SNS, and before I do anything, I'm going to XOR these REXs out. And then before I do anything to RBX, XOR it out too. Because these registers, they could have anything inside of them. So that should be it there to get rid of all the shell stuff. I was doing it for a moment there. Copy. Oh, come on. It is getting late. I'm getting tired. There we go. Okay. That one is wrong. Okay, come on. No. Right. Right. Still not it. Okay. I'm too tired to deal with this shit. And so what we're going to do is this is the working code that I made a few days ago to actually get this problem set to work. And so if you want to pause the video and try and see where I messed up on the new stuff versus this old stuff, feel free. But I'm just going to show you how this works. And so boom, there's the assume you just saw. These are the two files that were created by that GCC and object copy bullshit. And then we do the cat and we say the shell raw there, type that into the challenge, and there's the flag. All right, so yeah, I've done this problem a few times before. I'm too tired to get it just right off the bat, but here's the problem set. So anyway, that's basically where I'm up to as far as pwn.college, most basic belt thing, um, getting over to the hijack to map shellcode. I'm going to be doing this and this one probably tomorrow at some point. And then after I do those, God in hell, I wish this thing would go faster. All right, so after I do those, I'll probably bounce on over to program security because I really need to get into prop chaining. And so this was where that one was at. And then here is where we were directed to, which does have ROP. So that's great. And so, yeah, this is really good stuff here. So I'll probably be knocking out a bunch of ROP here tomorrow. And then after that, there's a whole lot more ROP over here in the green one somewhere. Actually, not ROP, format string exploits. And those are really powerful. And so I'll probably do those as well before Friday. And then, of course, ROP and Thorium and some Ecos ETFs before the time. So anyway,